Faraday's not reading the chat much, I think.
No.
He doesn't
He seems
like
a bit,
me.
he seems a bit confused.
Yeah, okay, punch
And
it!
punch it, Chewie, so we're ready.
So you and me are Han and Chewie then, I suppose. That's nice.
I suppose. Which one is which? I want to be Han. No, Chewie. No, I don't care. Either one.
I can be Chewie, and that's a terrible
Alright.
casting. Like, roar, all the time.
Yeah, you have to go like that for the entire cast now.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, love it. Alright. Waiting for my slow computer to load.
Same here. First boot of the day. Doesn't.
Yeah, always slow.
Yeah. And now I'm in at least, so. And just let me fix this.
And I think the chat is mocking us.
Probably. We're like the scrubby casters who have no computers. And now we're in the draft, so yay, here we go. Getting ready for FragSoc Geese versus WhyUHeff2BMid.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say Furion.
Yeah.
Because it always happens.
Most likely. It's. What has it been, like 7 games in a row or something?
I think every game we've seen Furion casted, banned, I mean.
Yeah, he's definitely always banned. Question is just, is he banned first or second? That's like the choices
we have. Nyx, that's a new one. We have not seen Nyx banned among the first 4 yet.
And Nyx is pretty interesting. Yeah, variety. And Nyx is a pretty interesting ban since he has been. His skills hasn't really been nerfed per se, but he's. I mean, with the not hero targeting on his stun anymore, he can't secure kills as easy. So it's an interesting ban. I mean, he's not really that popular and competitive.
After playing a bunch of pubs, I can say that people suck with hitting the Nyx stun now.
Yeah, I get that. No one is used to it.
No, everyone misses. Even Bone 7, especially Bone 7.
Yeah.
As I've heard on Sing Sing stream. Alright.
Several times.
Elder Titan and then OD. Of course, OD. No one wants to play mid against an OD. That's just hell.
I agree with
all
that.
Your mana stolen. And Elder Titan very versatile and very powerful, so not surprising at all.
Yeah, we've said countless times that aura from Elder Titan, just such a nice spell.
Yeah. And Lifestealer, extremely strong mid-game carry, so not surprising at all to see him banned either. But we actually see Nature's Prophet getting through for the first time.
Yeah, we'll see if he gets picked up by any of the teams. And Weaver, that's a first for us as well. I don't think we've seen Weavers so far.
I don't believe we've seen a Weaver, especially not a first pick Weaver.
No, I agree.
It's quite uncommon.
Yeah, I like Weaver as a hero. I play him quite a bit, but we don't see him that much. I mean, he is fairly easy to. If you have a strong lane against him, he's fairly easy to shut down.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, until he reaches level 6, 7, he is actually quite easy to kill because the Shukuchi has quite a long cooldown.
Yeah,
but after that, and when he gets his Lincoln, then it just becomes hell to get him down.
Yeah, that's why you like putting him as a solo offlaner. He does have that invis, and he has a fairly good amount of damage on the Shukuchi, so it's really good for both the harassing and taking some creep kills. So he is a strong offlaner, but I mean a sentry ward, and if you're facing a defensive tri-lane, he could be shut down easily.
Yeah, looking at Naga Siren Rubik, they can easily shut him down. So I would not suggest putting him in the offlane. So because it's
Naga
really
web and snare.
Yeah, one sentry and he's most likely dead.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They have really nice lockdown on both their supports right now. Or I suppose the Naga Siren will be run as a support, which is the most common thing.
Yeah, Naga not really being run as a carry anymore. She used to, but it doesn't really happen nowadays.
Yeah, I remember back in Dota 1 when Naga was like a hard carry. Those were the days.
Those were the days. Then she was nerfed. And we have a Lich, of course, extremely powerful, both as a support and an offlaner with the new sacrifice, giving XP to everybody.
Yeah, we have seen that in play a lot of the times, and it really shows. It really makes a difference.
Yeah, both when you run him dual lane, tri lane, or even solo, you get levels so much quicker. Especially if you run him as a solo offlaner, you just get so far ahead of pretty much everyone when it comes to levels, and it's really powerful with the new Frost armor and his ult, of course, being really strong.
I agree. And we see Disruptor being banned. That's a very uncommon ban. Disruptor not at all popular in the competitive. So
No, not really. But
I guess it's to. I mean, Disruptor can counter Weaver pretty okay. So I'm not sure if it's because of that.
yeah, he does counter Weaver very well, but as the other team has picked up both a Naga and a Rubik, it's not really. It doesn't really feel like they will pick up another support unless they do play the Naga's carry, which I doubt. Now, the Disruptor can be run mid, but that's really not common at all.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit confused about that ban. And there we
Yeah.
see Ninja Prophet being banned in the second
Finally.
phase.
I mean, sixth ban? What are these people? Come on!
Uh,
And Darkseer as
yeah,
well. Very
sure.
common to see for us.
Yeah. Vacuum Wall, of course, a very powerful combo. And he's a really strong laner as well.
Yeah. I mean, even though the Vacuum has gotten yet another cooldown nerf, it's still very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And that Ion Shell in the off lane, horrible to lane against.
Yeah. Now, uh, with a Weaver, gets slightly easier because he's ranged, but it's still extremely annoying to deal with.
Yeah. It will be interesting now. I'd say that both teams are missing a mid laner and
Yes.
most likely a solo or a safe lane farmer. So it'll be interesting to see what they pick up. And we've seen Magnus being banned out as well.
Yeah, Magnus very strong team. He did get a slight buff to his turn rate, but not really that much. And we don't really see teams playing except for Alliance
Yeah, it's
being pretty
mostly
much the only
S4.
professional team that actually plays Magnus nowadays.
Yeah, I kind of like that with the meta right now. That we have teams who are playing like their niche heroes, like Alliance with Magnus, and we see Fnatic playing IO. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of fun to see that we have a lot of different viable combinations up right now in the meta.
Yeah. And we have Clockwork coming out. I do like Clockwork against Weaver.
Yeah,
If you can both lock him inside the cogs, and unless he actually has his ult up, then he can't really escape from it. But on top of that, you can also mana burn him, of course, with them as well. And
yeah.
Clockwork, I heard that can be played both off lane and mid lane, so which makes it a bit harder to draft against FragSoc.
Now is the Earthshaker being picked up? I like
Yeah.
Earthshaker as a hero, but I'm not sure where he will be in this lineup.
No, it really depends on how how they choose to lane the Lich,
Yeah,
honestly. Earthshaker can of course pull as well with the increased range on his Fissure. He can actually block creeps and pull them into camps, but I actually don't see that very much.
yeah, me either. But as you say, it can be a puller. It might be a defensive tri-lane, depending on. I mean, you don't really want to lane like Lich, Earthshaker, so I think we're still waiting for that safe lane farmer for WhyUHeff2BMid.
Either that or they send the Weaver safe lane. I'm still not really certain about that. As we
Yeah,
said before, it's a bit dangerous to send the Weaver off lane if
yeah,
FragSoc actually chooses to go for the tri lane.
yeah, definitely. We'll see now what FragSoc Geese. But as I said, both teams we don't have a clear mid at least. We have like mid alternatives in both Lich and Clockwork, but now we see Death
Here
Prophet
we have
coming
our
out.
mid hero.
Yeah, most
Most
likely.
likely our mid hero. And her ult is just extremely powerful. It even got buffed in 6.79, so the spirits do more damage.
Yeah, we see
And together
her.
with the Crypt Swarm, she's just an incredibly strong pusher.
Yeah, I mean she is. She has got a rise in popularity during this last
Yeah.
patch, and
Yeah.
even though the problem with her is that she doesn't really have any lockdown.
No,
Uh,
and
but
unless she gets really good farm, she doesn't really scale that well,
yeah,
honestly. She needs to be really tanky to be able to actually stay alive during her ultimate, especially into the late game.
yeah,
And we have a Timber Saw against that, which I would say Timber Saw mid.
Yeah, that could
And
really work.
actually, I really like the pick because, as we just mentioned, the thing with Death Prophet is that you need to kill her quickly so her ult doesn't do as much damage. And Timbersaw, of course, he has really strong burst.
All of that pure damage and that
Yeah,
burst.
yeah,
And
indeed.
also, I do like the Death Prophet pick though, because even though she doesn't have that lockdown, she does have the silence, and we see a lot of lockdown in both Naga, Rubik, and Clockwork. They have really good ability
Yeah,
to try to shut the other team down, giving Death Prophet that broom to really go in and use her ultimate.
yeah, and of course, Weaver and Timbersaw both being heroes that are incredible. They really do not want to be silenced because it really shuts them down hard.
Yeah. And we see a Quap being banned, which as you say, I think it's a Timbersaw mid.
Yeah.
So I don't think I would have banned Quap, but it's still not a bad ban.
No, Timbersaw could be run off lane, of course, with the Weaver being run safe lane. So it's
Yeah,
definitely a possibility that they're gonna pick up their mid now.
yeah,
When it comes to FragSoc though, they ban Alchemist, which is a really good ban because I would assume they pick a and all you Alch of course being extremely strong, both farmer and fighter.
yeah. I agree. We don't. I haven't seen as much Alchemist since the 6.79 change.
No.
But I still think he's a really viable carry.
Yeah, of course. And we have Luna. Luna also really strong now with the new how glaives work now. So early game and mid game she's actually honestly not that strong, but when she gets a good number of items, she just becomes incredibly powerful. And of course, Eclipse is always a good spell.
Yeah, I like that with Luna. Or it's kind of funny with Luna that, as you say, she's not that strong in the early or mid, fighting wise, but she still has those spells that can really turn a team fight
Yes.
if you use them
Yeah.
correctly.
Indeed. Indeed. So yeah, she will most likely send the Luna safe lane, Clockwork off lane, Death Prophet mid. So fairly common lanes from FragSoc.
Yeah, I
But
think so
why
too.
you have to be mad? Why you have to be mid? I'm still not sure how they're gonna lane this. So we'll see with the last pick.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I mean, I think FragSoc really has, unless they do something different. I think their lanes are pretty set. But why have to be mid still has pretty open board. I think this last
Yeah,
pick really defines how they're gonna run this lineup.
yeah. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a safe lane Weaver, honestly. But Timbersaw, if he's going mid or off lane, I really have no idea.
Yeah, I think you might be very correct with this. I mean, I'm not. Okay, we see a Pudge.
Oh my goodness.
Is this gonna? This is most likely gonna be a Pudge mid. I mean, you
Oh
don't really see
yes.
Pudge
Oh
in
yeah.
another
No, you
lane.
don't really see Pudge. I've seen it like once or twice maybe. I think, but that was really long ago, and it was in games where a pro team met a lesser known team, so they just screwed around a bit.
Yeah, I think. I mean, outside of pubs, I don't think I've ever seen a Pudge go any other lane than mid. But then again, mostly the most common, like the latest Pudge match I watched was probably Dendy. So
Yeah, and of course Blink now being purchasable on Pudge. We'll see if he actually goes for that.
yeah, I think that's a pretty strong pickup. So let's introduce our teams. For FragSoc, we have Faraday on the Death Prophet, we have Atomic Pancakes on Rubik, Not a Ninja on Clockwork, No Fun Allowed on Luna, and Fig Leaf on the Naga Siren.
Indeed, and on the dire side we have Horse taking up the Earthshaker. We have Ars Ferret, lovely name, taking the Weaver. Uh, Floco Seni Papagal taking the Pudge. Six Bong on the Lich, and OC, I think. Yeah, on the Timbersaw.
Yeah, I think that's a correct call. And yeah, no real surprises after you see that Pudge pickup. They're running Beaver Lich top right now with the Timbersaw offlane, so that no huge surprises in the laning phase.
Yeah, indeed.
We do see
I'm
Rubik
actually
and Naga Siren though walking up. They're standing, and Rubik has picked up a smoke, so they might want to try. They're perhaps looking for a gang on the Pudge in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think so. We see the clock standing around the rune spot. We'll see if he actually chooses to go top. Yeah, he does. He runs to the top lane, so just a support ganking.
Yeah.
Pudge being a fairly tanky hero, but he doesn't really have any escape mechanism, so if executed well, he should go down.
Yeah. Now we see Earthshaker running top after placing a ward on the bottom lane. I do like the ward on the bottom lane for Timberside, gives him a bit of an extra protection.
Yeah.
And now Earthshaker running top, he's gonna try to place a ward there, and that's gonna prevent them from really being able to execute that gang in the middle that they were looking for. And the smoke was up, but Earthshaker caught out the Rubik. Naga Siren's still in this, but that won't help. But Rubik decides to just instantly sentry ward that Earthshaker ward, so nicely done by him.
Yeah, if the Earthshaker had stayed there for just a really short while, he would have been picked up by the Rubik, so he turned just in time. And we'll see the gank, they're actually trying anyway, we'll see if they actually get him down.
Pudge is
he's
fairly
really
tanky, as you say, and he's rotting up in the first, and now Naga Siren getting pretty low. I mean, we still see Pudge was up to level 2 instantly and managed to hook Siren, so all the heroes on from FragSoc went down a bit. I mean, now we see a stun coming in from the Earthshaker on Death Prophet, but no hook follow up. I think the range for the hook is way too low still, it's only level 1.
Yeah, that was really well executed by the Pudge, I have to say.
Yeah. And
nice block from Naga as well, though.
Yeah. This is very unusual, though. We see that the Timbersaw now on the bot lane, he hasn't picked up any points in reactive armor. He's running Whirling Death and Timber Chain as his first skills. So the harass from Luna doesn't hurt. It hurts him more than it should.
Yeah, that's actually a very strange decision. Usually an offlane Timbersaw, we have the first blood. That I missed completely.
Yeah, me too. That was bad. Weaver picked it up together with Lich and Earthshaker. So no, I saw the Fisher coming out. So not really much Clockwork could do that. I think it was just being caught out. No wards, no real anti-ganking wards on top. So it's a really scary place right now for Clockwork, I'd say. If you don't have a ward in this particular area, you can't really do much.
Yeah, indeed. Now, returning to the Timber, so he has skilled reactive armor now, but when you run him offlane, you usually get the reactive armor first. Now, I think that because of the supports not actually being there, he might have chosen to actually be a little bit greedy, going for the Whirling Death off the Timber Chain into the reactive armor.
Yeah,
that might be it, but it's an uncommon skill build.
Yeah. Now, see, Clockwork hasn't picked up any skills in Rocket either, so he's not trying to run. He's not trying to get any kills, creep kills that way.
No, that's actually also a bit strange. Actually, usually I see Clockworks going for the 1-1-1 build before they max either Battery Assault or Rocket. Honestly, I prefer maxing Rocket when you're in a lane where you really won't be able to get any last hits, because then you can at least get some money from it. Yeah, but of course, Battery Assault is better when you're ganking later.
Yeah, I agree. And I think they're running a defensive tri-lane, which has really offensive capabilities. I mean, Weaver is... He doesn't really have much last hit damage, and here they're going again on not a ninja, but the Fisher stun comes out on the wrong side. Otherwise, this would have been a dead Clockwork, but he might die anyways. He messes up that Battery Assault, but oh, yes. He manages to get that double hit off the Weaver, and he manages to secure the kill. We saw that the Clockwork also popped his flask, but couldn't get enough out of it in time. So a bit of a miscue from the Clockwork. I'm not sure I would have gone for the power cogs right there. He could have just run, I think.
Yeah, that was actually a big mistake going for the cogs. He wanted to use them to push away the Earthshaker and at the same time put up kind of a barrier in case the Weaver chased. They actually pulled the Earthshaker in, and he couldn't really get out of them until it was too late.
Yeah, he kind of missed destroying the cogs and kind of hit the Earthshaker instead.
Yeah, looking to mid lane, they want to gank again, but Pudge is staying safe right now. We'll see if he goes out.
He does the trick where he drops the gauntlets and regs up and then picks them up again.
Yeah. Just a bit more effective regeneration and a nice dodge. And look, hook.
Yeah, now we see a hook coming in on the Death Prophet. That's Rod as well, and Death Prophet's getting very low. And here comes Earthshaker, and he's gonna fish her up, but Death Prophet runs away with only about 100 health and no hook coming out from Pudge. So nicely done there by Rubik to pick up the Pudge and manage to secure his friend Death Prophet.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice hook from Pudge to start it up, but when he was almost just ganked by the Rubik and Naga, he can't really get that kill unless he has Dismember. So, but it wore the Death Prophet down, so it still did well. The Earthshaker only being level 2, so his Fissure does basically no damage at all.
And now we see a bit of a harass coming out on the Luna and Luna goes down to the Whirling Death of the Timbersaw. I think Luna got a bit too greedy, not realizing just how much burst damage that Timbersaw really has.
Yeah, it's like I talked about in the draft. Just incredibly high burst on Timbersaw, especially now when he has the Chakram at level 6. He can just dish out so much damage very quickly.
And also Arcane Boots up after about, under 6 minutes. That's a really nice pickup for him. So he's done fairly well with 18-2 and last hits and denies in the mid lane. In the off lane, sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happens when you leave the carry alone, especially a carry like Luna.
Yeah.
She does have rather high base damage, but she's rather squishy, and she takes a lot of damage from the harass of Timbersaw. So when both the supports keep going away from the lane to gank, it makes it difficult for the Luna to farm. And when they actually don't manage to gank properly, then they don't get any kills, it just hurts the team a lot.
Yeah, I agree. And Luna has picked up a Ring of Aquila, which is not a bad pickup in itself, but she doesn't have boots, so... And Timbersaw is a very mobile hero, so he can just run circles around Luna. And there was a missed hook, just barely a missed hook from Pudge, who TP'd in and tried to catch one out. We see 4 people even from WhyUHeff2BMid in the bot lane, so...
Yeah, I think the hook was a bit optimistic, but... it's fine.
Yeah, it was. I think I like Pudges who... Oh, we see the...
Wait, what? You can lift the catapult?
I did not know this, and I play Rubik
a lot.
I
did not know this either. I have played a ton of games, but I had no idea.
Haven't both you and me said that Rubik is our favorite hero, and another missed hook by Pudge?
Yeah,
just barely.
Yeah, Rubik is my favorite hero.
Same here.
I had no clue at all.
We're terrible at our favorite hero, and now we see an initiation from WhyUHeff2BMid, and they manage to ult the Death Prophet, get him down. The Rubik goes down to that chainsaw, and Luna is now running for the hills, but she goes down, and Naga just decides to run into the woods and TP out, and he manages to escape. So really nice initiation there by WhyUHeff2BMid. They really capitalized on that pushing attempt. When you see the Death Prophet ulti coming out, you know that they're pushing, and they just bid on that. But now we see initiation on the Weaver coming down, but he has the ultimate and he pops it, and he's just gonna try to run away. He goes a bit low, but there comes the Sakuchi again, and he's gonna run off and try to rig some health up with that Ring of Health and a Tango.
Yeah, that's what we talk about. He's level 7. It's really hard to kill him now. And looking back at the teamfight, the Luna did not have Eclipse. It was on cooldown.
Yeah,
so she could not use it. And the Death Prophet ult basically did no damage to the heroes, as it was focusing in the tower, which did go down, but at the exchange, not really worth it.
And now we see Pudge getting initiation on Death Prophet. Death Prophet barely escapes, but she gets finished off by that Earthshaker Fissure. Pudge just barely running away. Timbersaw now jumping into the tower. Luna manages to pick off the Pudge with that Eclipse, and now we see the Eclipse being popped. Sorry, I meant Lunar Beam to get the Pudge, and that's a really nice comeback from FragSoc. The Luna goes down, and perhaps even the Naga Siren, that Lich is on the hunt, and he wants that. He needs one more hit, but he decides to run off, and can perhaps Rubik pick off that Lich instead. The Lich just barely escapes with only 65 health. So overall, pretty hectic teamfight, but nicely rotation in from both Luna, Rubik, and Naga Siren. So they managed to get 3 for the price of 2. And they really needed that.
Yeah, they did indeed. The problem though is that they lost the Luna, and while the Weaver is pretty much just free farming on the top lane, he's been ganked once, and he didn't even die. And the Luna, on the same time, she died 3 times. So, while of course getting those kind of fights is of course important, but the Luna really can't really die anymore because she will fall so far behind.
Yeah, and now we see a hook on the Clockwork in the mid lane, and they finish off that Clockwork, but They managed to get the Earthshaker in exchange, and Pudge had to escape with pretty low health. So another good rotation in, but I think we're gonna see a whole lot more active Pudge now. He has a couple of items. He's running face boots, so he has face boots and a bottle. So he's gonna be trying to really capitalize on that early game. And as I said before, before the team fight, is I really like a Pudge who's he doesn't go for the secure hooks. He tries to create plays. I mean, you don't always have to hit the hook, but you have to try. And I like that he's really using that hook and trying to create plays. And I like that.
Yeah, that's exactly how you should play Pudge, honestly. It's like, I think it was Dendy who said it. Well, Wayne Gretzky said it first, but you miss all the hooks you don't throw.
Yeah, exactly. So that I think that's now we see initiation on an illusion in the mid lane, and they realize it's an illusion, and just
there were two of them, so most likely illusion.
Exactly. And now we see a Naga Siren. Is she gonna try to do the 4 stack? She manages to get 1 at least, I think. But no, the hard camp is blocked by the other team, and now they're ganking on the Luna, and they bring her down. They're running the 4, but I mean they're getting down the core for FragSoc, and that's really huge for WhyUHeff2BMid. They're really capitalizing on their early game.
Yeah. Well, they have a Timbersaw who did really well because he was up against the solo Luna, and a Pudge who did fairly well, fairly evenly against the Death Prophet in mid. So they really don't have any problems fighting like this at all.
Now we see that they're pushing the mid tower. They will take the Rubik gets the kill, and well, we have a rotation in, and here comes the Pudge. He's running up, and he's going to be able to... No, he misses the hook. Nicely dodged by them. But here comes the Chakram in combination with that Earthshaker stun. They just have to stand and take the damage. And now Death Prophet getting pretty low, but now here comes the heal from her ultimate, and we see a hook in on her though. But Clockwork manages to go in, and Luna pops her Eclipse and gets a kill, and now a hook from Pudge, and that's going to finish her off. So all in all, a very good team fight. Yeah, great hooks from Pudge. He missed the first, but that's a really nice hook on the Luna. And Rubik had to rotate out, and all in all, that's a good team fight for WhyUHeff2BMid. And just the power of the Chakram together with that Earthshaker stun. I mean, we saw both the Naga Siren and Death Prophet having to stand in it for several seconds.
Yeah, and honestly, if not for that hook, the Timbersaw would most likely have gone down. So really nice play from Pudge.
Yeah.
And as I said, team fight from FragSoc, they can't really fight at this point, honestly, because they have fallen extremely far behind, especially against the Timbersaw, who was off lane but still has more farm than the safe lane Luna. That's just really painful to have to play against. So if they fight, they need to fight in favorable fights. They need to pick someone off before they fight, and they need to have all their ultis up, and they have to coordinate them well.
I agree, and we were getting a lot closer to that Lincoln sphere as well. I mean, he has almost both. He has almost the perseverance, and he has the ultimate orb. And now we see an initiation on the Lich, and that's going to be it for him. We saw the hook from Clockwork, but here comes the counter initiation. That's Earthshaker ulti with a Fissure. We see that the Death Prophet pops her ulti, but she gets hooked by Pudge, and Rubik just falls by himself, and so does Clockwork. So a 3-for-1 trade-off, and that's for a Lich nonetheless. Yeah. So that's another huge team fight for WhyUHeff2BMid. They're really, I really like how they're utilizing their early game.
Indeed. I mean, the Timbersaw is farmed, and that's pretty much all they need to fight really well, because the Luna is not farmed, and the Death Prophet is not farmed. They have basically nothing. They have boots, and that's it.
The only one who hasn't died yet on Team FragSoc is the Naga, and she has escaped barely a lot of times.
Yeah, and honestly, she hasn't used her ult as much as I would like. And a nice hook in the mid lane from Pudge.
To an ultimate, and that's gonna be it for Naga Siren. And I think I already said that Naga died before, so I'm sorry about that. It must have been Rubik who died but just respawned, so my bad.
Yeah. So yeah, now Naga died, and things are pretty much just falling apart. Looking at the net worth, the top 3 are all from WhyUHeff2BMid. The Luna is having so much problems with finding farm. She really, really needs to get a BKB.
We haven't seen many towers from WhyUHeff2BMid, but they're running. Now I'm gonna have to. I can't remember their name, but there was this pro team when they faced Alliance, for example. They ran a really they just ganked and they didn't let the Alliance carry find farm, and that's essentially what WhyUHeff2BMid are doing. They're not letting Luna find farm. They're shutting her down, and she has to retreat to the forest, which at this point is a very much like a last resort for her.
Yeah, I think it was a line. I mean Navi who did it, but I'm not really sure.
I think Navi have done it as well. I mean, we have seen a lot of like shutting down with a lot of kills, but this was another team. I think it was like Pretty Boy Swag or something.
Alright, yeah, I'm not really sure.
Or Speed Gaming, but I'm not sure, but it was a lesser known team who really stomped
the
Lions.
Yeah. Well, regardless, as you said, the Luna has to go to the jungle. She has finished her OO club, but at the speed she's farming is not enough. And the problem is, as well, they picked a Death Prophet, but she has nothing except for Arcane Boots. And as I said before, she needs to be tanky. She needs her ult to use it full duration, and we actually have an initiation on the mid lane.
Here comes the ultimate by Nagasaren, so she's running in and she's stopping them. And Pudge is standing in the middle, so we'll see what he can do. He pops his drums charges, but he's gonna go down. But then comes the Chakram, there comes the Fisher, and we see that ultimate from Lich, and that just brings them down. Luna manages to get a kill though on Lich, and we see both, and we see 4 people on WhyUHeff2BMid falling down, and we did see a buyback from Rubik, who teleported in and helped a bit in that last team fight. So nice job by them. Weaver was not there, but they managed to still bring them down, even though they got a really nice ulti from the Lich against them.
Yeah, it was really a chaotic fight, but it was well done. The Death Prophet actually finishes a mech off of that, which makes her a lot more tanky, and they really needed something like that. If they can actually take down this tier 2 tower, which I don't really think now, they're gonna back off. Yeah. But yeah, that's exactly the kind of fight they need. The Death Prophet stayed alive for the entire time, and actually with the Weaver.
Yeah, we do see the Weaver, and he goes down a bit. He has to pop his ult, man. I mean, Rubik has stolen Chakram, but this is gonna be it for Rubik, I think. Rubik is getting very low. He picks up the rod from Pudge and just runs away, but Weaver is intent on chasing. Now Weaver gets silenced, Rubik just barely escapes. We have no ulti on the Weaver. Is he gonna be able to escape? A hook comes out, but it misses. Earthshaker goes in and tries to save the Weaver, and he does, but dies himself. And now Lich is gonna be caught out by that ensnare, and we see the Loon has rotated in. Also Timbersaw rotating in, throwing out that Chakram, slowing down a bit, and Pudge hooking away the Lich, so they just barely escape, both Lich and Weaver, so nicely done there by FragSoc. They're actually managing to claw their way back into this game.
Yeah, they're actually doing really well. I have to say though, I'm a little bit disappointed in WhyUHeff2BMid. They're making some mistakes I feel that they really shouldn't. Especially the Earthshaker running back in their horse, trying to save the Weaver, who was pretty much already out of harm's way.
I think so too. Yeah.
So there are some mistakes, but in general, they just need, like looking at the fight before, both the Death Prophet ult and the Luna ult hit really well. The Luna having reached level 11 now, so it's a rank 2 Eclipse. And they just need to have a better position, because that was really a favorable position for the Radiant. And they just couldn't get the Death Prophet down in time, so her ult did a lot of damage.
Now we see Death Prophet popping ulti. Now Pudge is gonna go down, he got silenced, but Naga netted one of them and snared one of them, but he has to run away. And now we see Timbersaw, he chains a tree very close to himself, and now he tries to run away. He throws out that Chakram, but he's gonna go down. He manages to go away, but he commits suicide. So nicely done to use that Bloodstone in his favor.
Yeah, I'm actually really confused about what really happened to WhyUHeff2BMid, because they were playing so well, but now they're out of position a lot. They're just making a lot of mistakes that I feel that they're better than the mistakes they make. I don't really know. Yeah, it feels like they just started playing a bit worse than they did earlier in the game.
I think so too. I think they played really well in the early game. They were fighting 4v5, winning the team fights, just letting Weaver get that farm. I mean, Weaver has a Lincoln Sphere up. I mean, and that was early. I think he got it around like 16 minutes. So so that's not bad at all. So I think it's just a case of perhaps being a bit too greedy. I'm not sure. Now we see Rubik counter warding. We have seen a lot of back and forth, especially with this ward. The the Radiant Ancient camp is really being a ward contested.
Yeah, it's one of the more common ward spots, so it's not at all strange to see to actually try to deward it. It's usually a ward there.
Now we see Pudge and Timbersaw putting a bit of pressure on the bottom lane tower, but they do have a lot of wards, so they see that 4 out of 5 people on FragSoc are rotating in. And now we see initiation on the Lich illusion, but they're probably going to realize it's an illusion since they saw Rubik run away. Now we see a counter ward here instead, but no, Rubik is not going to be able to get that 50 extra gold since the ward ran out just before.
Poor Rubik.
Yeah,
that's just such a bummer. Getting excited to get the extra gold and the ward just dies.
Yeah, that's like the worst feeling.
Yeah.
But he wards up and secures their forest a bit more.
But yeah, the Weaver has gone back to farming top lane. I think they should still be able to take fights, but it's gonna be a lot harder for them now. There's a mecha for the Death Prophet. The Luna, she actually has finished her BKB. She can just, when she buys it and flies it out, she has it.
Yeah.
So they now they need to be all 5 to fight instead of going 4 against 5, which they were able to do before. Yeah. And they need to be really careful about initiation and positioning.
Yeah, they really need, I mean, as you say, they really have to be careful with the positioning, get pick-offs, not try to engage like the entire team. They are going to be able to take that bottom tower, so that's nice. And also, I really like this ward from Rubik down here on the bottom lane, because that wasn't caught out by the sentry ward. So now Rubik knows that there's an observer ward for FragSoc on the bottom lane, but they don't know that he has an observer ward.
Yeah, and they're gonna they're gonna push top, and the tower goes down. There's really nothing they can do against that Death Prophet ult.
Yeah, Death Prophet just runs around and lets her, and that's gonna be a double kill easily on Luna, on Lich and Earthshaker. And now we see Weaver run away, but that Lincoln Sphere doing its job, and we see a nice hook in on Pudge. But Pudge ultimates Clockwork, and that's going to be it for him. But he goes down to the Luna. And now we see Weaver being caught out by that net, but they focus Timbersaw instead, and Timbersaw getting very low. Luna has no mana for that Lunar Beam, though. We see the wave coming out from Death Prophet, but that's not going to do enough. And Weaver's still initiating. He damages the Luna a bit, and he tries to run, but... And once again, that Lincoln Sphere really doing its job, and a protective Chakram coming out. So Luna getting a bit low, getting a bit scared. But still a very good team fight for FragSoc. As we say, they're really clawing their way back into the game, and now that Luna has a BKB up, that really helps. Even though I don't think it did much, that team fight. I barely saw the Lich after he teleported in. He just went down instantly.
Yeah. So they didn't have the Lich ultimate, and actually the Earthshaker tried to get in positioning to get a really strong Echo Slam, but died just before. So that was actually 2 extremely strong ults that didn't get popped at all, and you can't have that against a team fight oriented lineup like FS.
Yeah, I agree. And that even, I mean, Lich he got a Buckler very early on, and he has got his headdress, but that mech being delayed is also not at all good for them. And now he places a ward on the ancient spot, on the same spot again, and I mean, Rubik must have noticed all of these wards, or Naga, or someone. I mean, now Rubik even has a gem, so he's really going for that anti-warding spree. But he's not going to take down this ward. I'm not sure why.
Well, there was actually not an observer. There was only a sentry, so it's possible that he didn't actually see it.
Oh yeah, the sentries not give any vision after a while now, right?
No, they don't.
Yeah, okay, then, yeah, that's my bad. Then he must not have noticed it. Now we see a Pudge hook coming up, but it misses the Luna, and we see Earthshaker animation canceling his Fissure, and we could see like a bit of a claw. Oh, here we go, the Death Prophet ultimate goes out, the Lich ult goes out, but Lich goes down easily, and we see a hook on the Luna, but Earthshaker goes down easily, and now here comes the damage from Luna, and that's going to be a 4-for-1 right now, 4-for-0 right now, and we see that the Timbersaw, who wasn't even really in the fight, has to back off instantly before he even tries to attack, and FragSoc are gonna rotate in towards the Roshan.
Yeah, this is the thing I tried to say about positioning. The Death Prophet was at the back of the fight, and they just could not get to her at all. So her ult did so much damage, it was insane.
Yeah.
And with the Timbersaw not even there, and the Weaver having pretty much gotten very little farm since he finished at Lincoln's.
Yeah.
He doesn't really do much damage at all, so they need the Timbersaw, and he wasn't there. And at the same time, I'm very confused about the drum pickup. Well, not confused, but I don't agree with the drum pickup on Budge.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't think it's like it's not the optimal. I mean, I would rather have seen a bit more mobility from Pudge, being able to perhaps force staff himself into fights and stuff, or blink.
Yeah.
Instead.
Yeah, I think force staff would have been much more important, especially against the Clockwork, so you can get out of the cogs.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a weird decision for me, and the Death Prophet actually finishes a BKB as well, so they are gonna have such a hard time getting her down, and they have just completely lost the big advantage they got in the early game.
Yeah, I saw that the XP graph. I mean, they're being behind by 2.5k gold when they were ahead with almost 10k, and they had a solid about 5k gold lead, and now they're about 4k gold behind. I mean, just looking at the last minute, I mean that's a straight line. That's like 90 degrees.
Yeah.
And now we see Rubik picking up the hook. This is the most fun a Rubik can have in a game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love the Rubik hook.
Rubik hook and Rubik arrow.
So much fun.
Best moments of my life.
Yeah.
And now we see the Death Prophet's
tier
ulti
2
again.
will go down.
Yeah, most likely.
Just look at the damage.
We see a nice hook coming out on the Luna, but they can manage to get that ulti off before he pops his BKB, so he's going to do a lot of damage. Weaver going down, but it's a close call, and Luna is going to drop, but he has that Aegis, and Pudge didn't drop from the Luna ulti, but he's going very low, but both Lich and Earthchecker have fallen, while no heroes on Team FragSoc has fallen, and there we see Death Prophet picking off the Timbersaw while Pudge just teleports out and Weaver has to hustle his way back. So FragSoc really came back. I think WhyUHeff2BMid made some positioning mistakes, as you said, and they really lost that advantage, and now FragSoc are just steamrolling them with this team fight heavy lineup. I mean, Luna's ulti there, it basically took down Weaver and Pudge by itself, and now we see an initiation with the Naga Siren ultimate on Pudge and Weaver, and we're going to see what they're going to be able to do. And that comes the Lincoln, since a silence comes out from Death Prophet, but that's a nice Lich ulti that brings down both Clockwork and Luna, and they're going to be able to get Rubik as well. Rubik uses that Pudge hook and almost brings down the Weaver, and they're going to be able to pick him off. Now we see a chase from Lich, Timbersaw, and Earthshaker, but Naga Siren just says, I'm just going to TP out, and that's going to be it. So, still though, a really nice counter initiation by WhyUHeff2BMid, and they really needed that team fight to be able to get back into the game by themselves, you know.
Yeah, I was just really greedy from the Team FS. I don't agree with their decision to fight at all. They had no cooldowns up, and the whole Dire team was respawning, so it's a very strange decision to me. They really can't do things like that, but at the same time, that's not nearly enough to get the WhyUHeff2BMid back in the game. They need more fights like that.
Yeah, they do get the tier 1 tower in the mid lane, so that's a nice pickup for them as well. But they have lost almost all of their tier 2 towers, only tier 2 top standing right now. So a huge lead in the tower game for them, for FragSoc.
Yeah. I mean, there's not really any pushing potential at all in WhyUHeff2BMid. They pretty much need to get kills before they push.
Yeah.
And now initiation on the bot lane.
We see a nice rotation in with TPs from Team FragSoc, and the tier 2 towers are gonna fall, but they're gonna lose Lich from it. Pudge almost went down, and now Timbersaw is on the run. Can he flee from this armada of heroes? We see that the Clockwork has his ultimate on cooldown, and we see a nice Timber Chain, a nice long Timber Chain coming out from Timbersaw, and a silence there coming out from Death Prophet, and he's on the run, but he commits suicide. Once again using that Bloodstone in his favor, so nicely done by him. They do get the tier 2 tower, but they pay for it with 2 deaths, so.
Yeah. They're taking a lot of strange fights, honestly. The Pudge came from behind the tower, about around here, and hooked, and that's just really strange to me. When they're pushing from the front and he comes from the back, when they don't really have a proper vision about how many heroes there are, that's just extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's a weird decision, and yeah, honestly, they would have lost more if I don't know if you saw it, but the clockwork hook actually got like a half a second after he TP'd out, it hit exactly where he was standing.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it was the Earth Shaker.
Yeah, okay. So
So
that's a bit of luck for WhyUHeff2BMid.
yeah,
And on Clockwork now, I haven't looked up the items for a while, so he's going for a pipe, which I think is a really good pickup. I mean, that's such a strong
yeah.
pickup against this
Yeah.
lineup. And Naga Siren having actually picked up a Heaven's Halberd. That's also a really good pickup that neutralizes that one core Weaver.
Yeah.
Although he has the Lincolns, and I think the Lincolns blocks that, but I mean, still, it's Halberd, it's Ensnare. You're gonna get something off on him, and that's gonna be tough for Weaver to deal with.
Yeah, the Lincolns often gets popped fairly early in the fight, so it shouldn't be a problem at all getting the halberd on him. Yeah, though you should try to do it after the time lapse, otherwise he can just remove it fairly easily. The thing about Weaver is that he does not have a BKB yet. He is on his way though, he has an Ogre Club, but until he gets that BKB, he should be fairly easy to take down in a fight. And we have a hook.
Yeah, we see an initiation on the Naga Siren. She goes down to the Weaver, but a nice counter initiation by the Clockwork. But Clockwork is just going to have to stand and tank that Weaver damage, and now Pudge goes down. That's a nice Lich ulti, but it's blocked by the Luna BKB, and Luna just runs in with her ultimate herself and just kills a bit. Now Weaver brings down that Rubik, and we see a nice stun coming out from Earthshaker helping him. We also saw Center Ward coming out, so that was troublesome for Weaver, but all in all, that's a 3-for-1 trade. It's a really nice hook by Pudge. We have seen him, as we see him use it often, and that's in there for their advantage there, really.
Yeah, the initiation from the Pudge was really, really nice. Getting off the Naga, one of the most important supports with the Ensnare, and now they have a Halberd as well as the Song of the Siren if they need to stop the team fight. Really nicely done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Pudge doing work. He's on his way, I think, for a pipe. He might stop at the hood, but I would say pipe, which is really strong at shutting down the Luna ultimate. The problem they have now is pretty much only the Diff Prophet. Her ultimate just hurts so bad. The Luna, though, she has 3.8k, so if she gets a really good damage item, then she will start to hurt as well.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see if she tries to go for like a Satanic, or I don't think Butterfly would be the right item right now because Weaver has his MKB up, so that's kind of neutralized by that. Now Death Prophet he's picked up a Ghost Scepter, so that's nice.
Yeah, I don't think Satanic is the right choice because it doesn't really give her damage. She needs a lot of damage right now.
I agree as well. Now, that's kind of a dangerous hook, by the way, from Pudge. I mean, if he catches one, he might go down himself.
Yeah, Pudge is a bit of a daredevil this game. Just hooking everywhere, seeing what he can find.
Yeah, and now Weaver pushes the tower on the top lane, so that's nice by them. Now we see an initiation on Pudge though, a nice Clockwork hook, but a nice Fisher stun coming out. Death Prophet ulti is popped, and WhyUHeff2BMid is just running for the hills, and that's the right call for them. Now Death Prophet has popped their ulti, and now we see that FragSoc they really have to try to do something now, or just back off, because that Death Prophet ulti is gonna run out. I mean, it's already halfway done, so it has run its course, so we'll see what they can do about it. Weaver has teleported home. Perhaps I think that was a bit preemptively by Weaver. I would have liked him try to get a bit of more pressure on the tier 3 tower on the top lane.
Yeah, this game is just really back and forth. I can't say anymore who's going to win because the Weaver has managed actually to farm up quite a big lead compared to the Luna, but at the same time both the Luna and Death Prophet is quite a bit ahead of the Timbersaw and the Pudge.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean,
the team fights can actually go either way, really.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't really call a winner.
FragSoc was 7.5k gold ahead. Now it's even, and the experience. FragSoc was ahead by 5k, And now we see WhyUHeff2BMid ahead by over 2.5k. So as you
Yeah,
say,
the
it's
graph just goes
really,
up and down.
yeah, it's a really fun game. I like this.
Yeah, I like this a lot. In the words of Puffy, drastic changes in the XP graph.
Yeah, definitely. And he's getting very close to that BKB, and that's going to be a huge pickup for him. And Earthshaker has that Blink Dagger. He's had it for a while, so that's also nice. And now we see Timbersaw getting that Scythe of Ice. I saw that he had both an Ultimate Orb and Void Stone, and that's a huge pickup against the Luna. Luna's BKB is already down to 5 seconds, so he's not going to be able to use that as much. And Luna's picked up an Eagle Song, so he's going for that Butterfly. I don't think that's really the right pickup, but now we see a Telekinesis on the Pudge, we see a Naga Siren, the Ensnare, but Pudge is just going to go down from all that damage from the Death Prophet ulti. Luna moves in and uses her ultimate, Lich does a nice ulti, and Weaver now in danger of going down, and Luna getting down to the Timbersaw finally. Timbersaw still has that Scythe of Ice, but he's going very low, and he's going to go down to the Death Prophet ultimate, while Weaver tries to run in, and they have picked off the Clockwork, but Weaver's gonna go down himself.
Rampage,
nice.
Rampage!
It's a Rampage for Death Prophet. That's a huge team fight for them. Really nicely done to get that last Sentry Ward down to ensure the kill on the Weaver. And now we're gonna see FragSoc are gonna try to get a tier 3 here, I'd say, or perhaps they're gonna try to get the Roshan, depending on where they go. But Death Prophet now with an Ultimate Orb and 4k gold, so she's probably going for the Scythe of Ice as well, I'd say. I think that's the right pickup against the Weaver.
Indeed.
And Rubik picking up his staff, and yes, there we see a Scythe of Ice being picked up.
Yeah. The thing about Weaver here is finish his BKB, but the Death Prophet ult is physical damage, so that goes through BKB, and it's so incredibly painful. Now, the Weaver being a bit overzealous, I think, here, chasing really far, which resulted in his death. If he would just backed off, he would have been fine, honestly. So a bit of a mistake from the Weaver, but looking at the team fights, unless they can pick up the Death Prophet really early, they just have a really hard time actually winning, because Death Prophet is just doing so much damage.
I think so too. I mean, Death Prophet there got to run around with his ultimate for the entire fight. She was not contested at all. And now we see an initiation on the Pudge, and we see Rubik stealing that hook and trying to hook, but can't hit anyone. So
it's always fun to hook as a Rubik.
Being pushed back a bit. I mean, the graph going now towards FragSoc again, so very close in both towers, and I mean, the same amount of towers, almost the same amount of kills, and here comes FragSoc. They're gonna try to rotate in towards the middle and get that tier 3, and it has gone down quite a bit, so with the Death Prophet ultimate, I think that's gonna be it for that tier 3 tower.
Yeah, most likely. They pop the glyph.
She's barely in range, and it still just hurts. Pudge trying to hook her, but misses, and Timbersaw now tossing out a Chakram to perhaps prevent her a bit. Perhaps they're not going to be able to get it. They don't have any creeps with them, and they're not going to try to push the high ground. And now Death Prophet ultimate is going to run out, and they're not going to be able to do something. But that's a nice hook on the Luna, and Luna goes down. That's a huge hook by Pudge together with the ultimate. That's a nice ultimate by Earthshaker, and here comes the Lich ulti, picks off that Clockwork, bounces to the Rubik, up to the Death Prophet, and that's going to be it for him as well. Pudge can't hook, and it's such a close call by Earthshaker, who blinks in, but can't get the stun off. And that's a huge team fight by WhyUHeff2BMid, especially by that Pudge. That's such a good hook. That really turns the fight around for them.
Yeah, that's an incredibly good hook, getting the Luna. And this shows the team fight of the Radiant team without Death Prophet ult and without Luna ult. Now, the weird thing to me is that Naga didn't actually pop Song of the Siren.
Yeah.
Which I believe she would have been able to without any problems, so that's strange to me.
Yeah, she wasn't one of the first to go down. I mean, we saw Luna going down, we saw Clockwork going down, and then we saw Rubik and Naga Siren going down. I think Naga Siren even went down last of them, so she could have really prevented that from being such a train wreck. And instead now we see that WhyUHeff2BMid take that 3T and tier 2 in the mid, sorry. And they're getting a bit of pressure on the tier 2, but with that glyph coming out, they can't really do much. And we see Weaver with a nice amount of damage with that BKB and MKB up, so he's doing a fair amount of damage on that. So they still need a lot to push that tower, as you say. There's not really a lot of pushing power from WhyUHeff2BMid.
Yeah. Looking at the chat, it seems someone is having lags. I don't know. Is your streamer doing alright?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna see. Gotta get a better upload speed. I don't think that's the problem. I think it's Twitch. Not to be that guy, but I mean, my upload seems fine in my OBS. And Twitch is known for sucking bad time. Also, like big time in Europe, Twitch is like the worst streaming service ever.
Oh well, the game shouldn't be too much longer. I mean, it's very back and forth, but I feel it should end soon still. We'll just see. Pretty much, looking at as the game looks right now, it's pretty much one big team fight win, and it can result in victory.
Yeah, I agree. We see that there's a bit of back and forth outside the Roshan pit. Both teams have dewarded, so there's no vision up in the Roshan pit right now, so everyone is being really careful, trying to scout it out. You see the Naga Siren illusions coming in towards there, and we see that WhyUHeff2BMid are getting their small creeps in there, and the rockets are coming out, so a lot of back and forth right now. The sentry is up for FragSoc, but it doesn't catch out the observer ward, and that's a smoke that's going to be really easy to spot for FragSoc with that observer ward out. Pudge running in now, and he's going to catch out the Clockwork, who ultimates him, and Pudge now on the other side of the cogs, and that's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, and Death Prophet ultimate out, and I think this is the right call by WhyUHeff2BMid. They're backing off, they're not initiating with that Death Prophet ultimate up. Death Prophet trying to run towards them and getting something done, and she got push staffed, which was nicely done by Rubik, and Pudge actually buys out. Perhaps they want to try to counter initiate, and now Death Prophet ultimate is going to be down for around over a minute, so we'll see if WhyUHeff2BMid can perhaps capitalize on this and get a Roshan kill.
Yeah, without the Death Prophet ult, I don't think the Radiant can contest it at all. Granted, they have the Eclipse, which is level 3 Eclipse, but I don't think that's enough. So they need to be really careful if they want to contest this Rosh.
Yeah. We also saw that WhyUHeff2BMid put out a ward, which was instantly taken down by FragSoc, and now we see the illusions coming in, scouting out the Roshan, and it's the Weaver just doing a bit of damage, and Roshan is now down under half health, so he's really a prime target right now. Roshan is the man to get. If you get a Roshan, you have a really much better chance, I mean, to push. Getting Aegis up on Weaver, that would be huge for them. Weaver now picking up an Eagle Song, so he's going for that butterfly, and that's going to be a real nuisance for Luna, who hasn't finished her butterfly yet. So she's going to have to go finish that butterfly and get an MKB on top of that, and that's a lot of farm.
Yeah, that's pretty much the problem that the Team FragSoc has, is that the Luna really needs more farm. Yeah. Just having a BKB and a Helmut the Dominator at 43 minutes in is really not enough, and the Weaver might actually solo the Rosh here.
Yeah, I think so, and now we see a hook coming out onto the Death Prophet, who has his ultimate, and that's a nice counter initiation with the telekinesis, and that's a Luna ulti which will finish off that Lich, and now Timbersaw going very low and dying, and Pudge also going down, and now Weaver going down as well. He does have the Aegis, but that's a wasted Aegis for them. And we're probably going to see Weaver going down. Yes, there we see him going down easily, and he does get the Rubik, but that's a terrible team fight for them. I'm not sure why we saw Hook coming out from Pudge in the mid when Weaver wasn't there and was half health from picking off Roshan. Sure, Death Prophet ultimate is out for about over a minute, but now Team FragSoc can just push into the base easily. I mean, Luna, she has damage, and we all know how terrible Luna's pushing skills is. I mean, just look at those glaives. They're bouncing like all over the place.
Yeah, they bounce a lot. I think they can actually go for another tower if they want to. And pretty much this is a team fight where the Dire team did not initiate. They got initiated upon.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the Weaver was out of position. That means death against a Death Prophet. with her ult up, as well as a Luna ult and a Clockwork Cogs. I think he almost caught two people in it.
Yeah.
So they just can't handle it.
Yeah, and now we see a nice initiation on Timbersaw. We saw the Hex coming out from Death Prophet, but is he going to be able to perhaps run away? He's very low on health, and we see a Protective Hook coming out from Pudge that misses, but Timbersaw actually manages to escape. I did not expect that. We saw a nice hook coming out from Clockwork with the Cogs and the Ensnare, and I mean, with that kind of lockdown, if you don't get a kill, you must be pretty disappointed.
Yeah. I think they could have gotten a kill. I think if Clockwork put the Cogs in front of him, they would actually have gotten a kill.
Yeah,
and
like
Luna actually finishes. Instead. I think Luna finishes as a Satanic instead of going for the Butterfly. I can't say I agree with this at all. I feel that her damage is too low for Satanic to be the best decision. I would have preferred if she finished the Butterfly first.
I agree that I like the Butterfly more as a pickup. I do see where she's coming from though. If they focus Luna before Death Prophet and she gets the Satanic instead, that means that she might have a bit more time to tank that damage, so that Death Prophet ultimate can just mess WhyUHeff2BMid up.
Yeah.
And now we see an initiation from the Death Prophet. She pops her ultimate. We see a nice Fisher Stun blocking them out a bit. Luna popping her BKB very preemptively, and that's going to be a wasted Death Prophet ulti on Luna BKB, so Luna's BKB is down to 4 seconds, and that Death Prophet ulti is doing no damage whatsoever.
No.
So nicely
this
done.
Is pretty much. And Pudgy is walking out.
And there we see the initiation coming out from WhyUHeff2BMid. That's a nice initiation on the Luna. We did see a nice telekinesis. Earthshaker going down, he did manage to get his stuff out, and Weaver popping his BKB and just damaging a bit. And is he gonna? Yes, he does get the mini stun on the Death Prophet. And Death Prophet is gonna fall down, and that's a triple kill for Weaver. Rubik now going down. He's finished off with a hook. And Death Prophet buys back because they realize that this might mean a push coming from WhyUHeff2BMid. But do they have the pushing power? This is, as you said, the problem with WhyUHeff2BMid. I mean, Weaver has decent pushing power at best. I mean, he has some attack speed, he has some damage, but he can't really. I mean, it takes a while for him to take that lane down. He doesn't really have much AOE in the sense like a Luna does.
Yeah, well, I think the buyback was a bit premature. He could have waited longer, I think.
I think so too.
And especially now with the new buyback, so the time adds to the next death, I think you should wait as long as possible before buying back. And she doesn't have her ult either, so she could have waited, I think.
I think so too.
She would probably would have had to buy back anyway, but still. And looking back at the team fight, it was nice initiation, but I think they went in a bit early because they went in a bit before the Death Prophet ult was over, so the supports were pretty much crushed instantly by the ult.
Yeah,
and I think
agree.
if they went in a bit later, and the support survived, I think they could have pushed rather effectively, actually.
I agree. I mean, we have Lich and Earthshaker have really nice push, as well as Timbersaw. Pudge has the Rot, but it's not like super. It's good, but it's not like the best pushing spell. But as you say, I think they went in a bit preemptively. I do get them as well, though, because if they wait too long, the other team backs off and they miss on a really huge opportunity, yada yada. But they get a lot of kills out of it, which is nice. And Weaver's like really fat. He has finished his Butterfly, and now basically what he wants is a pair of boots of travel and like a crit, and he's like super fat. But I do agree with you that they still lose a couple of heroes out of it, and they can't really make a huge push out of it.
Yeah. And Weaver, he is indeed fat, but at the same time he's actually rather squishy, honestly. He has 2k health, which is fine, but against the Death Prophet ult, that still goes down fairly quickly. So I would like to see some kind of sustainability coming out from him next.
Like I think Hard is pretty decent pickup if he wants to go for it.
Yeah,
and
Hard would be fine.
Now we see FragSoc pushing that bottom lane, and they have really strong push. I mean, insanely strong push. And now they're running in towards the bottom tower. We see the Death Prophet ultimate coming out, and that tower just melts. We see the stun coming out, and also that glyph. But now Weaver is in trouble. He gets hexed, he gets netted, but he managed to pop his ulti just in time. and they're gonna be able to pick off that Luna with the ultimate from Pudge, and Luna goes down, and that's really nice supports coming in from Team WhyUHeff2BMid, and Clockwork tries to TP out inside of his cogs, but he goes down. Now Weaver only has 700 health, but he's on the run. He's on the chase together with Pudge, and we see a nice blink stun coming out from Earthshaker. Earthshaker. Now comes the Naga Siren ultimate, and she decides to just TP away, so she does give the Death Prophet the time to TP away, but that's once again a pretty late Song of the Siren. I think when you realize the Luna is down, why aren't you? She should just pop the ultimate and try to run, because they're already on the run. So I think that's kind of a missed call by the Naga Siren.
I think the Luna was a bit too aggressive, and we have a game is hard coming out from Friday.
I agree with him. Such back and forth game.
A bit of over aggressiveness coming out from Luna, running up the stairs with all her team behind her. Her BKB is only 4 seconds, and with the Pudge Dismember, she cannot pop her Satanic. So I don't agree with that decision. I think he should have played a bit more defensive. And honestly, the Weaver, he got his ultimate off at the last possible second. And if he would have died there, he did not have buyback, I don't think. Or did he buy the Reaver before or after?
I think he bought it after. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest.
Honestly, regardless, pretty much regardless, that teamfight would have been completely different if they forced a buyback out of the Weaver.
Yeah. I mean, Weaver was so close. It was a nice Hex, it was a nice ensnare, but that ultimate just, I mean, that's a free cheese, basically, or a free Aegis. He gets instantly popped up back to full health. That's huge for them. Once again, we see a bit of they're looking towards the Roshan pit, but Roshan is still, he's 2 to 3 minutes away, as we see from the new improved Roshan timer.
Improved.
Very much improved, right? I learned how to do it from a guide. Now I can read it.
I still cannot properly read it. I can read it a bit, but not fully and not properly.
For those of you curious, they've changed it, so now it's between 8 and 11 minutes. And right now, as we see in the Roshan pit, this means that there's like 3 of them. This means that there's a 3 minute. So each of these 60-degree thingies, they represent 1 minute. So now it's into the second minute.
Alright, then I can read it as well.
And
Gamey.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like around 1 minute now, and he's gonna spawn, but I'm not sure. We'll see.
Alright,
and
sure.
Now we see Lich is like going for a Sanj. I think he's looking for a Halberd.
Yes, indeed.
Pudge looking for a BKB. Timbersaw, not sure. I think he might be looking for. He does have a Mystic Staff out. He's going for a Shivas, which I really like a Shivas. I always like a Shivas, especially against like high attack speed heroes like Luna. Even though there's only one on the other team, I still think Shivas is a really good item pickup.
Yeah, Shivas is good. I don't really agree with the BKB on the Pudge though. He has a Blade Mail, and he doesn't really take that much spell damage, honestly. When he dies, it's from the Death Prophet ult. Like everyone else, pretty much.
I think a bit more of a even an Eel Scepter would have been a good pickup for him instead. Like so it's a bit more of lockdown, I'd say.
Yeah, I still want that 4-staff though. I would like
definitely mobility. Yeah, mobility over lockdown right now. I agree with that.
And since I'm actually we have an initiation.
And that's a Nagasarn ulti, and they're gonna be trying to pick off that timber side. We're probably gonna see a Hex, but that's a nice hook. That's a really great. That's a really great escape from by Pudge. Saver of the day.
Now I have to give the Death Prophet usually pops her ult at moments like these. She has earlier in the game, but this time she saved it, and I really like that.
Yeah, I think that's good. And I mean, wait until it would have been really unnecessary for her to pop it there. And we all see Timbersaw has a blink dagger, so I thought I saw a blink dagger, and perhaps Timbersaw tried to blink out in the same moment as well as he got hooked. So, and now he picks up his Shiva's guard, and I like that. I'm a huge fan of that item.
Going back to what I tried, can I actually say it, or are they gonna initiate again?
Here we get a smoke,
There we
and
go.
they're gonna be caught out instantly, and we're gonna see, and that's an ultimate Earthshaker that doesn't really hit anyone. Clockwork goes down very quickly to the Weaver. Luna's popped her ultimate. Pudge is going down, but he has popped his, and there we see even, wait a minute, who? Lich goes down as well, but Lich has popped his ult, and that hurts a bit. Now Weaver going down a bit, and he pops his ultimate and secures the kill on Luna, so that's 4 right now being down for FragSoc, and Luna, no, Death Prophet running away while the base is being attacked, but they have creeps there, but they decide to back off and not chase out the Death Prophet. Bit of a hectic team fight, I didn't really call it too well, but we did see the Luna ulti come out with the BKB. We did see the Blade Mail coming out from Pudge. Pudge couldn't really do much, but he has like over 3k health right now, so he is still really strong. I mean, it takes a while for them to bring him down.
Yeah.
And a nice ultimate by Lich, but Lich ultimate it's pretty weak right now. I mean, it's 55 minutes into the game. It doesn't have as much as it used to. So I mean, right now we see what we're seeing right now that really makes a difference. It's the Weaver, I think, who is really pushing out that damage. I mean,
it's definitely the Weaver.
If you saw the Clockwork just melted, and now Weaver has finished up a heart. So I think he's gonna go. I think he's gonna go for a Boots of Travel, or that's my standard 6 slot is always have a Boots of Travel because you really want that mobility. And I see Glyph coming out, but this tower might go down if Weaver can just get to stand a bit. But now Weaver, he gets Lincoln's popped, and we see a telekinesis. We see the net, but is Weaver going to be able to pop his ultimate? No, he gets silenced and he goes down, so that's a really greedy play by Weaver. He thought he could take the tower, but instead he falls. And this might open the door for FragSoc, because Weaver does not have a buyback.
No, he does not. Actually, that's really big. They're just going straight down the mid lane. They want to finish this.
Yeah.
They want to end it.
I mean, Weaver needs 300 gold to get a buyback, and he can't. I mean, that's a greedy play. If he would have gotten the tower, yes, then he would have had a buyback. But now he's basically left his team to lose.
Yeah.
Now we see a hook coming out, but it hits a creep instead of Death Prophet.
There was one creep there, and it hit it.
And Death Prophet pops ultimate, and we're gonna see these towers melt.
Yeah.
This Death Prophet ulti is gonna do quick work of it. We see Timbersaw going in. We see the Earthshaker popping his ultimate, and he does a fair amount of damage. And here we see Luna coming in with her ultimate, but Naga Siren going very low. Luna getting pretty low as well, but she manages to bring people down before her ultimate finally stops. And we see that Satanic coming into play there, nicely done by them. And this is gonna be GG, no doubt about it. Everyone on WhyUHeff2BMid was dead right there. So.
Yeah.
Such a hectic game, and
such a hectic game. This is so up and down.
And what a finish, really.
Yeah.
So, GG. I think WhyUHeff2BMid. Just let me. For some reason, the end game sound is really loud for me. But I think that really came down to the Weaver. That was a greedy play, and it cost him the game.
Yeah, that last push from the Weaver, pushing by himself against a team where 4 of them were alive, that's just way too greedy.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm gonna say, I did not shout out him before, he asked in chat, but I can shout out you now. Best Cat EU, shout out to you.
Oh yeah, best bet yet. But yeah, this was a really fun game to cast, I think. We saw a lot of nice plays coming out from WhyUHeff2BMid early. We saw the clawing back from FragSoc in the mid game, and